So, all loaded up on the back, I've got my old BMW back. Me and a friend built the car between us maybe 5 years ago. I put a load of my parts that I had left over from my green 1JZ MX-5, and my friend Lee also paid for a load of parts, and we built the car between us. It turned out in the end that he'd put far more value into the car than me, and at the time the regulations changed for the British Drift Championship, meaning I could use an MX-5 again. So I decided to sell my half to Lee, and I built another MX-5 at the time. Lee used it for a couple of days, a couple of practice days, had some problems with his recovery truck, ended up having to sell that, and the car has sat ever since. It was a fresh build, and it is a fairly decent. GoPro's moved. I've got my GoPro and my phone mount, which is not the best. So, yeah, the car is a really decent spec. I might as well run through it now. That's a 1JZ non-VVT. It's not a built engine, it's just a standard engine. We found a Sora that hadn't been used for about 10 years, had 70,000 kilometers on it. Did all the usual things, drained the fuel, filled the balls up with oil, let it sit for a while, turned it over by hand, started up first time. Compression test, absolutely bang on even across all 6 cylinders. It's had a new oil pump, new water pump, new power steering pump, BC264 cams, 1050 grams performance injectors, twin grams 044 fuel pumps, Goodrich braided lines all the way through, grams performance adjustable fuel pressure regulator. It's got an old journal bearing, I think it's a GT3571. Might be wrong with that, it's a long time ago. We found a turbocharger on eBay that was freshly rebuilt and never used. It had a Link Fury on it, but that got stolen, so it's without an ECU at the moment. All the lines, the loom I should say, the loom is all still there. All the sensors are still there, so it just needs a fresh Link Fury and a map. I believe it made 480 horsepower at 1.1 bar. Again, I might be mistaken on that, but I know it was a surprising amount of power for the boost level and the spec of the car at the time. I was quite surprised. And it's not particularly laggy either. You can drop and pick up the throttle in 3rd gear, and it just spins the wheels up without a clutch kick or anything. It's also got a complete M3 rear end, diff shafts, cradle, the lot. My own lock kit, I drew up some arms, drew up a file, and had some arms laser cut. I made my own offset top mounts, chopped the knuckles. It's got an extreme amount of lock, probably more than Wisefab. I've put Wisefab on E36s in the past, and I really don't like the feel, especially in the wet. They're almost undrivable in the wet, so the best solution for this car at the time was for me to fabricate my own steering angle kit and stick with the geometry that I know works for me, that feels a lot better but still delivers the amount of lock that I'm used to. So it has got a really well thought out nice steering angle kit, which is something that E36s sort of struggle with, in my opinion anyway. I know the SLR kit is meant to be quite good. I believe G-Tech now do a kit for them as well, but they don't appear to give as much angle as the Wisefab setup, so making my own was the solution for that at the time. BC coilovers. What else has it got on it? It's all stripped out, fully caged, bucket seat harnesses, handheld fire extinguisher, plumbed in fire extinguisher.
Nitrous?
nitrous oxide. Yeah, it has a nitrous kit that was never plumbed in when it was mapped the first time. The boost controller didn't work for some reason, so we were at gate pressure. So the plan was to go back, sort out the boost solenoid problem, which is strange because that was a brand new Mack boost solenoid, so I'm assuming that was my chunky wiring. So yeah, the plan was to get the boost solenoid sorted out so the boost controller worked, go back for more boost and plumb the nitrous in as well, but we never got round to that. So yeah, it's a decent spec car. This came up, my friend messaged me the night before last, offered it to me at a price I couldn't afford but also couldn't really refuse. So I've managed to scrape the money together and picked it up today. This also means the SLK is potentially going to be abandoned as a build. I haven't got a rush to make a decision on that one, but I think that's probably a bit of a daft idea, trying to finance the build of two proper big spec pro cars. Yeah, this thing has also got the ABC gearbox adapter kit with a Tilton triple plate clutch and a 330D 5-speed gearbox. So yeah, it needs a lot of love. It's sat about for a long time. There were certain aspects of the car I wouldn't say bodged, but put together out of parts I had laying around which weren't ideal for certain situations, but it got the thing finished and working, which was the sort of priority at the time. We're both quite limited for finances, and I had bits and we made them work. So I need to go back. I'm going to strip it right down to a bare shell, tidy everything up, repaint it, make a list of what it needs, sort the appearance out. I'm not overly keen on the way the thing looks. Again, we sort of limited for money at the time. I think it needs an HM Sport kit on it, or at least some kind of body kit and a rear bumper, just to make it look more complete. Repaint, and try not to get carried away with spec creep as I go along, which is always a problem. But yeah, the plan is to get the thing together, get it working as a comp car, fully legal comp car, improve all safety equipment like bucket seat, the side head restraints, harnesses that are in date, have both the fire extinguishers tested. I think the cage needs a little bit of work. Haven't really looked properly, can't really remember what I did, but I think it was a fairly basic spec cage, sort of the minimum for BDC requirements at the time. So yeah, there is quite a lot to do, but all the main parts are there. So comparing finishing the SLK and buying all the parts I needed to complete that, and buying this and adding the few little bits and bobs it needs to make it work, is night and day financially. I mean, I'm probably saving myself like £10,000 or something. So not what I had in mind. E36s aren't my favourite car. As far as style goes, they are extremely competitive. So, you know, it's a tried and tested package, unlike the SLK. That would also be a lot of work to get it tested and develop it until, or to the point it's a competitive package, because nobody's ever really built one before for pro competition. Not that that really deters me that much, because the MX-5 I built, the 1JZ green MX-5, was a phenomenal thing after I'd done a year of competition in it and developed the thing. I figured out what it liked setup wise, so you know, that wasn't the end of the world. But this thing straight out of the box should be competitive, and like I said, saved me a huge amount of money, so it seemed like a no-brainer. The sort of choices made for me, and having a 1J back again is sort of mind-blowing to me. I love 1JZ non-VVTs. That would be my engine of choice, even above a 2J. They've always served me well. They've always, you know, for sort of scrapyard engines that I've picked up for peanuts, run at twice the power they were intended to on at the time cheap oil and 20 odd year old oil pumps, a scrapyard engine would last me over two seasons. You know, if I looked after one a little bit better, which I will now, there was more money. At the time it was a case that you could pick up a complete Sora for £500, so it was more expensive to service and look after the engine with oil pumps and bits and bobs than it was to just use it until it blew up and replaced it with another one. Now obviously the situation is quite a bit different, so I need to look after this one, but like I said, it's had a new oil pump. I'll flush the oil out again, put some flush oil in and some fresh good quality stuff, probably Motul. Yeah, so I'm quite a happy boy. I've got a lot of work ahead of me, but all the parts are there, which makes a change. I mean, normally when it comes to builds, the main thing that holds me up is the availability of money for parts, or waiting for parts to arrive. You know, delivery on things isn't the quickest nowadays. So yeah, I've got a car, I've got all the parts. The E46 is now complete. Bled the brakes yesterday morning knowing this was coming, so that's drivable. I can get off the stands and out of the garage and get this in and make a start. Happy days. So I've got it home. Still on the driveway at the moment because I need to put the other BMW on the floor and put the wheels back on again before I can drive it out. But a few things I forgot when I was running through the spec. It's got a rear mount radiator set up, Mishimoto dual pass rad with a twin speed fan. You can see in there, nitrous bottle down there, fuel cell in the back, sort of vent with ducting, filler cap in the window. But by far the best bit for me, 1J. I just bought a powder coat and set up at the time when we built this, and I think I might have got a little bit carried away with various different powders, hence the multicoloured finish on the engine. That'll all be stripped down and painted black. I think I'm just going to Raptor everything so it looks tidy. But yeah, very, very, very pleased. Mishimoto intercooler. Need a new oil cooler. That is just some cheap, nasty, horrible thing. 18-inch rotor grid drifts all the way around. It's even got newish Westlakes on the back. So yeah, I've just saved myself so much money in comparison with building the SLK. It's not a toy. Anyway, I just thought I'd put a quick video together because it's quite a development today. I didn't expect this. Yeah, stay tuned for plenty of BMW content. This is going to be a nice build. Really pleased with this. So you know the score. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all soon.